Yesterday, things, I guess, happened other than my move. I wasn't aware of it, but Joe Biden traveled to the LBJ Museum here in Texas, where he was set to unveil his radical plan to reshape the Supreme Court.
This is dangerous.
Oh, man, this is so bad. He wants to destroy the country on the way out. He wants to finish the destruction. He was asked about it and made some nonsensical comment about Speaker Mike Johnson, who said the plan is dead on arrival in the House.
Speaker Johnson said it's dead on arrival. That he is?
He's dead on arrival.
How are you going to get this vote? How are you?
And he
What
says
a
it twice.
comeback.
He is. He's dead on arrival.
Wait, isn't that violent rhetoric? Is that a threat?
It's so bad.
He's terrible.
He sucks. Oh, he sucks so much. But it was good to see the guy playing president is still out there.
Yeah, still playing.
Yeah,
Still
so
pretending.
that's neat.
Good for him.
Right.
He was actually upright, too. He was standing. He was not laying down on the tarmac.
Well, that was only 10 seconds of the whole trip. So
well, that's
I don't know
true.
what happened when the camera turned away.
He probably went down immediately. So Speaker Johnson is dead on arrival. Interesting.
Yeah.
Again, if that was Trump
Oh, gosh.
saying something
Oh,
similar about
gosh.
Nancy Pelosi or whatever, oh my gosh, can you imagine the outrage?
Yes, I can.
Then he discussed that plan for the Supreme Court.
This is agonizing, man.
I'm calling for a constitutional amendment called No One is Above the Law Amendment.
Oh, that's a good one.
It holds,
No one is above the law amendment.
I mean this sincerely, it holds that there's
means
no
it.
immunity for crimes former president committed while in office. I share our founders' belief.
Pause it. That already exists. They can't actually commit crimes on purpose. From a personal standpoint, like if the president, if he was about to go strangle one of the reporters there and kill them, he would be held responsible and accountable for that. What the immunity does is protect you for policy and decisions and, trying to do the job of the president. You don't want to prosecute people just because you disagree with them. And that's what it's designed to protect, not to allow presidents to commit crimes. That's ludicrous. But he's got more.
He's talking to a pretty brain-dead base, so they'll believe anything.
That's true.
The president must answer to the law. The president is accountable for the exercise of the great
apply
power
to
of the
you?
presidency.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
We're a nation of laws, not kings and dictators.
Oh, the nerve,
I know.
the unmitigated gall of this guy.
The decision can be boiled down to the title of one case, Trump versus the United States. The court asserted it was making a ruling for the ages. That isn't true. The court made a ruling for one, a former president. No other president in our history has asked for this kind of immunity for criminal actions. And no president, no former president, not me, not one, should have been given any exception to such immunity.
He nailed it.
Pause
He nailed
for
it,
a
right?
second. He nailed that line so much that I got to hear it
You
again.
want to hear this again?
Yeah, just for
Okay.
emphasis, because it was so powerful.
Keep in
You'll
mind.
get chills.
Yeah.
You will get chills.
He's wrapping up point 1 of 3.
Oh, okay.
And so he hits it out of the park, like you said.
All right,
stuff.
let's hear that one more time. Because
A former president. No other president in our history has asked for this kind of immunity for criminal actions. And no president, no former president, not me, not one, should have been given any exception.
has been given the exception.
Second thing I'm asking for.
I don't think it's dead on arrival anymore. That was
We've had
convincing.
term limits for presidents of the United States for nearly 75 years after the Truman administration. And I believe we should have term limits for Supreme Court justices of the United States as well.
Okay.
Do you?
Yeah, we saw what changing the Constitution for the direct election of senators did to America. States no longer have a voice. Why don't we leave the founders' vision alone?
In fact, the United States is the only major constitutional democracy that gives lifetime seats in their high court. Term limits would help ensure that the court membership changes with some regularity. That would make timing for the court's nomination more predictable and less arbitrary. Reduce the chance that any single presidency imposes undue influence in generations to come. The bipartisan commission I convened analyzed various term limit structures. Based on their report, I believe the best structure is the 18-year term limit.
Okay.
That would help ensure the country would not have what it has now. An extreme court that's the product of an attack on the confirmation process that's been weaponized by those seeking to carry out an extreme agenda for decades to come.
Okay.
By the way, these guys mean it.
They mean it.
These guys mean it. Project 2025.
Oh, there it is.
They mean it.
I hope they do.
I'm calling for a binding code of conduct for the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Got some bad people in there.
Because some of them have flags and put them up. And we don't want that anymore.
Glad to hear you say that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's one of those guys has a flag and they put it up in their yard and it was upside down. And I don't like that.
You don't like it?
So let's get him out of office.
I know we're going to talk about Venezuela later, but there were some Cuban-American congressmen and women who came out yesterday after this speech and said the first thing Nicolas Maduro did in Venezuela was change the Supreme Court.
I believe it.
Da-da-da.
I believe it. They're always following the playbook of socialists and Nazis and fascists. Always. And then they simply blame the other side for it. It's their MO, and they're really good at it. They just keep doing it. Meanwhile, here's something Kamala Harris said about the Supreme Court. This should concern all of us.
So I will say that I am interested in having that conversation, and I'm open to this conversation about extending the number of people on the United States Supreme Court, about increasing the number of people in the United States Supreme Court.
Oh, how about we don't do that?
Yeah.
And do you think any of this talk?
Well, let's at least have a conversation about it. Can we?
You want to have a conversation about it?
We need to have a couple of conversations. One is about race.
Okay.
Okay. When are we going to have that discussion?
When?
When will that conversation take place? When we talk about race and racial issues in this nation.
Right.
And another one is talking about the size of the U.S. Supreme Court, which has never in our history exceeded 9 people. But I want it to now.
You want it to.
Because I want to pack the court with as many people who are like-minded with me as possible.
Do you think that the left would be having this conversation about altering the court and expanding the court and all that fun stuff if they had the power right now they were nominating people?
You know they wouldn't. You know they wouldn't. No. The answer is no, and everybody knows it.
Everybody knows it.
Because when they did have the advantage, or when it was even close, they didn't have this concern. It's only when things go against their point of view and their agenda that they then have a fit.
They use the courts for their agendas, for judicial activism.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, I can't imagine if you really step back and look at the court, it's pretty moderate. It is a pretty decent balance.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So stop with this. It's a radical agenda on the court, far right-wing extremists. Shut up, man.
I mean, it's garbage. What they keep screaming about is garbage. I don't know how many decisions that have gone against the conservative flow they've made in the last year, but it's considerable. It's a lot. And it's to the point where Amy Coney Barrett is like, have you switched sides now?
Yeah. The trajectory for her is
bad.
Not good.
No.
And of course, Roberts is Mr. Mush.
He's been
in
for
the
a
middle.
long time. Yeah, long time.